Yo, what's going on, guys? I'm Jay Cartere, and in this video I'm going to be reviewing House of Cards Season 4 Episode 9. So this was a very good episode. I'm very excited to see what happens in the next episode. It ended on a great cliffhanger. There were loads of great plot points. There was loads of wild schemes playing out. And it was tense. It was very tense. I didn't know which way it was going to go. It ended up going a very interesting way. And yeah, there was loads of great moments. Frank displayed his cunning yet again. And yeah, both Frank and Claire displayed their ruthlessness and cunning in this episode. I was really happy to see them work together towards a common goal and do what they was doing. But yeah, let's get into the spoiler section, because there was an epic moment in this episode, and that was Conway meeting Frank. So let me show you how they got into that. Basically, Conway and General Brockhart spoke out against Ico and the president's inaction against them. Then because Ico apparently sent out a threatening tweet saying that their heads will roll and shit like that. And then the general claims they're recruiting around the globe, they have money and the manpower to be a serious threat. And then they both call out Frank on the TV and demand that he acts on Ico. So in response to this, Frank decides to invite Conway to have a meeting with him, and they chill and play mobile games instead of discussing Ico. They kind of brought up the fact that they're supposed to discuss Ico, and then Frank was like, "Do you really want to do that? Let's just chill, man." And then they just chill. So it shows that both of them don't really care about the issues that they're talking about. They're both just in it to gain more power and be president and just appeal to whoever's willing to vote for them, basically. So after that, Conway got a phone call, and then Frank calls Leanne to ask if he can monitor the phone call to hear what he's saying. And then she tells him that it will probably leave a trail, and she advises against it, and then tells him that they should hang up. So that, it might be a very big plot point, I'm thinking, in the future episodes, because they did talk over the phone about some illegal shit, and that might be brought up down the road. So I guess we will see. I'll make my predictions at the end of this. But the next big plot point in the episode was obviously the open convention for Frank's vice president. And in that open convention, Senator Scott Scheer publicly endorses Claire at the open convention, where the states vote for the vice president nominee. And that basically confirmed my thoughts that they weren't actually trying to get Kathy Durant nominated for vice president. They were just playing along and getting Kathy Durant in that position so that they could finesse the situation and get Claire to actually be nominated. So let's see how this plays out. Basically, Texas cast all their votes for Claire to be VP. That came out of nowhere. I think they had 200 and something votes, so that kind of put her in the running. And then Claire publicly endorsed Kathy Durant, and her gun bill passes in the House. I don't know if that is actually going to affect anything down the road, her gun bill passing, because she said that she wasn't going to get it passed in the Senate, but I think it seemed in this episode that they was trying to get it passed in the Senate. So I'm unsure if they're just lying to everyone and saying that they're not going to do this and then actually doing it. So I guess we'll have to wait and see. And then Donald Blythe supports Kathy Durant on the record and tells a reporter named Adam that Claire made the deal with Petrov in Brandenburg. And then Adam then asks Kathy about the rumors that Claire brokered the deal and not her, and she basically dodges the question. She's like I'm not gonna answer it, basically, and she just busts out. After that, Claire then talks to Kathy about the Brandenburg deal, and Claire says she'll stick to the story that Kathy made the deal. And after that, obviously, Kathy seems a bit, I don't know if bewildered is the word, but a bit, not nervous, I don't know, a bit flustered by the situation that Claire's getting all these votes, and now people are thinking, people are getting the story that Claire actually brokered the deal. So at this point, I was feeling, Kathy might be a little suspicious. But then she had a meeting with Frank, and Frank told her about, basically had the meeting about Claire possibly being VP. He acts shocked about Claire getting all these votes, and then he says they should prepare for what happens if she does get nominated, basically. After that, Kathy says that she thinks Claire will do a good job, and Frank promises that he'll let her stay on as Secretary of State if Claire gets the lead and Kathy supports her. But at this same time, yeah, Claire is actually promising another senator the position of Secretary of State if he supports her and helps her get in the lead. So I don't know who's lying at this point. I don't know if Frank's lying to Kathy saying that, yo, if you support Claire when she gets in the lead, you'll stay on as Secretary of State, and that's a lie, or if Claire's lying to this other guy that she's promising that he'll get the job of Secretary of State. So someone's going to be let down if any of this shit goes through. But let's see what else happened in the episode. Basically, the story about Claire making the deal with the Russians breaks on the news, so now everyone knows about that, or knows about the rumors at least, because no one's confirmed it or denied it. Well, from the White House anyways. Louisiana, is that how you say it? Louisiana. Louisiana then cast their vote for Kathy Durant to be president, and then request that the open convention allow them to vote for the position of president as well as the position of vice president, which gets knocked down, like it gets denied. And then Louisiana votes Kathy Durant for vice president, which puts her in the lead. And then I think this wasn't supposed to happen at all. So Frank and Claire were like flustered by this. And this might lead to some madness in the next episode, because I think the open convention is still going on. So if they start like trying to push for the fact that they can vote for president, Frank isn't going to be happy about that at all. It's later revealed that Kathy called Conway. Remember, I was talking about that conversation earlier when Frank wanted to listen to it. Basically, it was Kathy calling Conway to, I think, maybe organize the Louisiana doing all that shit and voting to make her president or something. I'm not 100% sure though, because they didn't clarify it. But I think she did secure her job as Secretary of State if Conway wins, because he said, if I win, then I'll consider keeping her on or some shit like that. Kathy then refuses to meet with Frank after Frank tries to get Doug to contact her. So it seems like Kathy is pissed off at Frank and Claire, and that's not good, because I like Kathy. I thought Kathy was a cool person. I don't think they should have done it like this. Like, they should have let her know what going in the beginning, man. Like, they didn't need to finesse her like that, but they did. And Kathy seems like she's pissed off about it. So it's going to be interesting to see what Kathy does next, if she just doesn't talk to Frank, because they have to be together if they're running mates, or they have to like appear at conventions and shit and do all this politics shit. So I don't know what she's going to do. But the third big plot point is Doug versus Leanne. That seems to be heating up. And Doug's been doing like a couple bullshit things in this episode, so that's probably going to lead into something else down the road. Basically, Frank held a press conference with the mother of the boy whose liver he's using, and then Doug seemed really guilty at that press conference. And after that, he then researches the man who died in order to push Frank up the list to get a liver transplant. He visits his memorial page, and he basically creeps on his wife. Like, he looks through pictures on the memorial page and he sees a picture of his wife and it zooms in. So that leads me to believe that like you know how Doug is. Doug is a stalker crazy guy. Like, he does some really weird shit. So I think, well, let me leave my predictions till later, but it seemed like he was interested in his wife. And then it kind of alludes to the fact that he donates to the memorial fund, which is a fucking dumb idea, because it leaves a trail and connects him to all this shit. So Doug just makes some stupid decisions, but I didn't actually see him donate to it, so maybe he didn't, but I think he did, to be honest. Also, Seth finds nothing on Leanne, and Doug tells him to dig deeper. Seth then tells Leanne that Doug asked him to dig dirt up on her, and he asked her to give him something small to give to Doug so that he doesn't lose his job. So now Leanne knows that Doug is out gunning for her, and Doug is doing some bullshit that maybe Leanne might find out about. You never know. So I've got 4 questions here. The first question is, will that phone call that Frank made to Leanne come back to haunt him? I personally think it will. I think someone's going to find it, or someone's going to talk about it. It's going to be some sort of plot point in the next episode, because otherwise there was no real point of it happening. because it didn't really lead to anything, because he didn't actually get the phone call and he found out later on. So I don't know, but I think that's going to come back. You guys leave your ideas and predictions in the comment section below. Also, our second question is, will Aiko become a big threat? I don't know, Before I thought, yeah, they will become a big threat, but it doesn't seem like they're actually doing anything, or it doesn't seem like the series is focusing on them like that. Like, they're only really being used as a political point. So maybe I'd say yeah. I think yeah, maybe not, but we'll see. My third question is, Doug going to visit the dead man's wife? I think definitely. Like, Doug is a creepy, crazy bastard, and he needs to stop doing this short shit. But it seems like he's gonna stalk the dead man's wife and then try and get involved, and it's just gonna be terrible. Like, Doug needs to stop making these stupid decisions. If he really wants to be a cold, heartless killer, he's got to be a cold, heartless killer. He can't be a cold, heartless, remorseful killer that wants to, like, fucking, be remorseful and shit and do all this sort of shit, like stalk people. And like, he's just got to chill out and just be cold and heartless, which I prefer Doug to be. Like, all this sort of shit really annoys me, because he's just gonna fuck up Frank's plans, which I hope he doesn't, but I think that is definitely what he's gonna do. And then my fourth question is, will Frank be able to sweet talk Kathy back onto his side? To be honest, I wish he could, but I don't think that's going to happen, because as we've seen before in these like past seasons, it seems like Frank's persuasion power is kind of declining. Like, he doesn't always get what he wants. Like, in the first 2 seasons, it seemed like he was basically always getting what he wants, except for like at the last part of the second season. But in the 3rd season and the 4th season, like, some of his persuasion attempts go really left. So I think he's burnt that bridge with Kathy, man. I think she's going to turn on them, and I don't know what she's going to do next, but it's going to be really interesting. I'm really excited to see the next episode, so I'm going to go do that now. But thanks for watching, guys. Please like and subscribe if you like this video, and I'll see you guys in the next review.
It's been a cold winter and it's lasted far too long, so all this warmth I share with you.